guys were still able to get some practice and preparation in, but also a chance for some guys to get healthy. Walk us through how the bye week went, and now returning home to take on Miami this week.
It came at a good time. You know, when the schedule comes out, you can try to figure out whether it's a good time or not. Got the MAC season underway, 5 games, and so it was really good for us. We talked about just getting ahead, catching up wherever you're at academically to crush it, and then to get rest, rehab, and then we wanted to stay in rhythm. And so we did practice a couple times. Coaches were out on the road recruiting, and I think it was a really, really good week for our guys.
Coach, your initial thoughts on Miami?
Yeah, I mean, they're picked to win the league, you know, for a reason. Very, very well coached. They always play a full football game. You got to play them for 60 minutes. They're always in it. They're smart. You know, they know how to play complementary football. They've got a quarterback that has won the league twice. I think was leading in all the major passing categories, you know, before he was injured last year, and is really talented. You know, so I think it starts with him, you know, offensively, and then defensively, they've been the top or at the top, you know, for as long as I can remember, and make it really difficult to run the football, keep things in front of them, and so they've been very, very effective. They're just, you know, it's you've got to play 60 minutes, you've got to play super smart, you know, and for us, we're going to have to try to take the ball away and take care of it.
Coach, you guys are off to a really good start. How do you feel about this team's ability to handle success?
Yeah, I don't think we're there yet. You know, I thankfully, you know, I really don't feel as though we're in a place that we've even had to deal with that. We've been trying to go 1-0 this last week with the bye, you know, and the rest, the rehab, and staying in rhythm, and know that we're playing the defending, you know, champions and the team that are picked to win it. So we're not having the issue of trying to figure things out that way.
What has Delbert Mims meant to this offense and what he's contributed?
So knew of Delbert Mims, just my history in Indiana and Indianapolis, and was a great player at Ben Davis, and went out to North Carolina State and had a great role in their offense at North Carolina State. Don't want to speak for him, but he had one last year and wanted to be an every down back, and you know, we thought that he could be an every down back. And I guess the first thing that I think about Del is that, especially now when so much of the recruiting in the transfer portal can be accelerated, what I mean by that is you don't always have the time, or very rarely do you have the time, you know, to really go through the process of getting to know each other. It's speed dating for sure. And, you know, I just know, as I know, we just hit a home run with who he is, you know, as a man. And that is really, really, really important to us. He's a great fit. I remember our post-spring meeting just about, so, hey, you've been here for 4 months, you've had winter and spring, and how is it, and all that. And it was you know, it was a great conversation, because I think, again, I don't want to speak for him, but he felt really good about, you know, the first 4 months and being welcomed and fitting in, and how hardworking we were. And yeah, it's been really good. And now, you know, he's our starting running back and off to a great start.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, I'm just curious to know, like, how do you assess, like, how you guys did offensively against Kent State? Because on one hand, you know, you guys scored 50 points, you scored early, you scored off turnovers, love to see that. But on the other hand, there's like too many high marks of 3 and outs for you guys, and like there's like the rain that like might have, I don't know if that affected things in the second half for you guys. Just kind of curious, you know, to know how you assess how you guys did offensively.
We had a great opening series, and we had another great series in the second half that neither were, you know, takeaway aided. The story of that game was our defense taking the ball away and then our offense doing something with it, when we had those short fields. But I think it was 4 scores, 3 in the third quarter and then right in the beginning of the fourth quarter. And so, yeah, it was far from perfect, in terms of, getting the ball in the minus 25 and driving the length of the field. That's not the kind of game that it was. So we've got, have had and continue to have plenty to work on. If you take out those 4 scores, it's a very different game. And so, it was one of those days that we were able to take it away, and then we took care of it.
I already talked about Bret Gabbert. Last time you guys played Miami, he wasn't in. It was actually his backup in that game.
Yep.
So you don't actually have like EMU versus Bret Gabbert film, right? But just curious to know, like, what are you expecting to see out of him, and how is he going to test your defensive backs in your secondary?
Yeah, so he's been their quarterback for a long time. He's super experienced. I think their offense runs through him, which is a huge credit to him and to the staff to have a guy that they have coached and trust and know that the offense can run through him. Super accurate and just understands, I think, their scheme and how it applies to different defenses, both fronts and coverages. So when you have a quarterback who has the pen in his hand last, it can make it very difficult. So we've got our work cut out for us.
And on defense, Luke Murphy, he's been kind of emerging, with his new team with you guys. Had a pretty loud day against his old team, Kent State. What has he meant to your guys' defense so far?
Yeah, he's another great fit. Our strength staff gives us our readouts from practice and whatnot. He's always at the top, in terms of his expending his energy, right? In terms of putting his feet in the ground and change of direction. And it's just kind of how he's just kind of wired that way, right? He can't sit still. He loves football and he's full go. Again, another really great fit for our culture, just a really, really good person who loves football and just immediately has bonded and become, one of us. He's learning quickly. He started out not with us, but as a safety, and I think is becoming more and more and more and more comfortable as a linebacker. He can run. He's a really good athlete, and so his skill set fits perfectly in what we need at that position.
And offensively, offensively, we've already kind of talked about like Singleton a bunch, especially earlier in the year. But you guys have a couple new receivers that are emerging too, Terry Lockett and then Marcus Allen on the other side too. What does it mean for, to have not just like Singleton, who's like kind of like a center point for this offense as a receiver, but to have 2 more receivers that you're putting in, have new receivers out there, what's it like to have like those dependable hands?
Yeah, anytime you're relying on one person, offensively or defensively, you're going to be in trouble. And so that's not the case with us. I mean, we think that, man is super talented, very productive. But I think Terry ended up at 9 catches last week, and he's not new. He was with us last year. He knows what he's doing, and he's really emerging, and his best football still ahead of him. But love his progression and is off to a really good start. And then Marcus is new, although we recruited him out of high school, so we've known of him for a really long time. And yeah, he's also off to a great start, and just a bigger physical body too, right? You try to want all types, and so he's been very effective. And then Ziel's had played a lot for us as well, and so we feel as though our wide receiver crew is certainly not a one-man show.
A little bit going back to the bye week, with a 4-1 record and a 3-game winning streak, what areas did you feel that you needed to your most attention during this past week, during bye week?
Yeah, really rest, the rehab, and then staying in rhythm is really what we needed to do, this last week, and that's what we really attacked, those 3 things.
Yeah, and how do you balance keeping the team sharp during a bye week while giving them the chance to rest, both mentally and physically?
Well, we talked long and hard about how we could do that, And we ended up having short practices on Wednesday and Friday, and then we normally on Sundays don't go outside and practice, but we had a shorter practice last night. So they had all of Monday and Tuesday off from football, and then Thursday off from football, and then Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday, all the way to the afternoon in terms of, the rest. But we thought if every couple of days we still got back together and kept the timing and the rhythm and just the mentality and all that together, and for everybody to get back together, that it would serve a good purpose. And we'll see, but we feel as though we nailed it.
Coach, before we get out of here, there's a lot going into this weekend. Certainly an opportunity for fans to come out. What's your kind of message to people to come take in this team and all the festivities that surround it?
Yeah, our first two games, have been great. We really appreciate Eagle Nation, coming and being a part of it. It makes a difference. And then we did notice both Michigan and Michigan State are on byes this week. The Lions are out of towns. So anybody who's looking to get their football fix, man, come to the factory, 2 o'clock. We're playing a team from Ohio. We can all be united in that. And dadgum, the Temptations are coming to perform at halftime. And as they've so famously, or they famously sing, "I ain't too proud to beg." Hope to see you at the factory.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, Del.
Good, how are you?
Good. Coach kind of talked about the transfer portals like speed dating.
Yeah.
So you had to make a quick decision. Why did Eastern Michigan feel like the right fit for you?
Well, first things first, I had a teammate from NC State that was already here, Porter Rooks, and just hearing from him, talking to him every day, and also talking with the coaches every day, it was like, this is a good fit. And Porter and I are really good friends and have always had each other's back. So I knew when he called me and he was like, "Hey, this is the place," like I knew okay, I should look into it more.
Do you feel like there were higher expectations for you that you were coming from an ACC school, that you played at North Carolina State, that people maybe expected a little more out of you?
For sure.
Some other guys?
For sure. I mean, anytime coming from a big time school like the ACC or Big 10, Big 12, any Power 5 or Power 4 now schools, it's like you should have that expectation. Like they should come in here and they should put on a show. They should show that, okay, this is why he was in the Power 4 or Power 5 back then. But yeah, I know for myself, I always look at people like, okay, they came from that school. They should be. I need to see that. So.
You guys put up some big numbers against Kent State. Where's the ceiling for this offense? I mean, how much better can you guys be?
Man, we can be a lot better. I don't even think we've scratched the surface yet. So I just feel like as long as we just keep coming in, getting better every day, the ceiling, there is no ceiling. We can keep going.
Thank you, Del.
You obviously the running back room that you're coming into, they're missing a bunch of guys, and so they're really, I don't want to say desperate for more production, but they would love to see a lot of production again. You playing with Dante McMillan, a couple other guys coming up that are young. How do you see yourself as a leader in this room, as a first year guy, and how do you see yourself being important in this running back room?
Well, first things first, I'm the oldest guy in the room. I look like I'm the oldest guy in the room, so everybody calls me Unc or Pops. So, I mean, every play, they see me in practice. They see how hard I work. So they see what's happening in the game. So in practice, the young guys come up to me and they just ask me, "Hey, what'd you think on that inside run? What you think on my pass pro with my hands inside?" And I just try to give them my insights because I know when I was at NC State, I had Zonovan Knight there with me, and I just asked him every single play. I asked him what could I did on that play? What could I do on this play? Just getting those little nooks and crannies just so I can be better on the field.
Which one of your teammates has kind of helped you in practices to push you to be the best Delbert that you can be in 2024? Is it someone one of your nephews in the running back room? Is it somebody else on defense that's been pushing you?
I think it's the running backs, Cole Snyder, the receivers, the coaches. It's everybody. Cole Snyder, you go to practice, you hear him screaming at the top of his lungs so everybody to get lined up, run up to the line, run to the ball. Finish the play blocking somebody. I mean, we just got to keep going. And with those guys in your ear, I mean, it makes you want to play hard. You know, like Donnie, he was always there when I first got here. I was asking him every play, like, hey, what's that signal? And he was telling me. So that's just a brotherhood that was here, and I love it. I love it here.
I don't know what like you might have thought of like the MAC or like MAC competition. You're only one game in so far, but like, you're practicing with this team, right? But you know, what did you think of the competition that you're now playing in while you were at NC State? And, like, what is it? How much is your mind might have changed? Stayed the same? Like, what's kind of your thoughts there?
My mind has never changed. I always knew that the MAC was a competitive conference. Playing at NC State, we played Ball State one year, and we won by, I think, a touchdown. And they were on our butts the whole game. So I know for sure, like, the MAC, it's 4-quarter games, 60 minutes. You got to play the whole game, and you got to give it your all. So you can't take anybody less than what they are.
And against Miami, you know, what are you expecting to see out of them, and like, what are you like hoping to see out of yourself the rest of the way?
I mean, after seeing Miami of Ohio losing to Toledo, I know they're coming here with a chip on their shoulder. They won the MAC last year. I mean, we got to come out punching. We got to come out hit first, hit hard, and we got to keep hitting.
Thank you.
You had a career best performance against Kent State with 145 rushing yards, and 2 touchdowns. What was working for you on that field that led to that dominant win?
Really, it was my teammates. It was the defense, playing complementary football. Just, I mean, when Luke Murphy, he got that pick, I mean, it was like we knew we were going in and scoring, but, you know, you have to have that every time you go out on the field. So having that complementary football, just having your teammates rely on each other, I mean, you can win any game.
Thank you.
Coach Creighton hit on it earlier. 2 great crowds, the first 2 home games. Big game coming up this weekend. What's your message to the fans out there?
Man, come out, support. I mean, we're the only game playing in Michigan this week. Come out, support. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good, hard 4-quarter game. If you love football, come to the factory.